Hello guys, I'm Sherk came back once again, and you saw the title of the video, the recent PlayStation debacle. Yes, you saw the title of the video. PlayStation had decided to make the bold decision. My gosh, they're so stunning. They're so brave. They made the bold decision to pretty much stop selling physical copy of games. Not just PlayStation. Xbox like, yeah boy, I'm trying to get some of that money too. So you guys remember how the Xbox players, I blame Xbox fans for this. Now some might say, why do you do that? This is not about console wars. This is not about who's better at which one. I blame them for this for one simple reason. So you guys remember when a new game would come out and the Xbox Saints would say, just get it on Game Pass. Just get it on Game Pass. Oh, it's coming to Game Pass. So ever since all these companies start to have you make an account just to play a game. You have to log into an account just to play a game, and this pushing this whole game and this digital type thing, it's been bad since day one. The whole purpose of it, and why you got to make an account for Ubisoft and EA and all these other things, is because they're going to turn it into a Netflix type service. That was going this way for like quite some time. I don't see why people are surprised. What do you mean, Batman? So don't you think it's strange with the PS5 and the Xbox Series X? Not just one. Both companies chose to release a digital-only version of a console. Well, you thought that was just being considerate? Or you just thought, well, you know, some people only buy digital. Some people only buy digital. So why would you trust a company that is known for doing backhanded things, Xbox and PlayStation, to ensure your digital libraries when you know that the corporations, especially these two, especially in recent years, does not have your interests in the best interest at all? And I bring up Game Pass because Game Pass is just Netflix. But what about PlayStation now? Like Xbox Gold and PlayStation have always had their exclusive features. They've always had this whole we gotta play for online, on which I blame Xbox too, because the PS4 started to have you gotta play online. You remember that? I just find it strange. The same year, like a year after, the PS4 and Xbox One version of GTA 5 came out. You remember the subscription service where you're not even using the money to combat the hackers. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. So I've been seeing it go down this way for quite some time. This is like nothing. That's why when I saw the news, I'm not mad. Because you know the greatest thing you can do to a boycott and protest? Not buy PS6. To not buy the next gen consoles. Do not support these consoles. If the industry crash, is what they deserve. And I'm not saying this to offend no type of developers or people who, you know, they're only trying to put food on their tables, but you can't just keep doing this to the customer and expect there to be no type of repercussions. You just can't. So no, I don't feel anything that PlayStation is trying to get rid of physical media. I don't feel anything that Xbox is trying to follow suit. I don't, because I've been done with PlayStation ever since the PS4. Ever since they started charging people for a service that used to be free. Like, people really need to play online. Like, come on. Nobody's trying to get no PlayStation now, and nobody cares about no free games every few months. Why am I paying $20 to play online for a month? Or you could just, not $20, like $14, 20 to 14. Well, you could just buy the PlayStation card for a year. That's $60 guaranteed every year. For what, about, roughly what, 2-3 million people? How much money is there? Not including the fact that every time a developer updates a game, they gotta play Sony. They gotta pay Xbox. What, for I can keep funding Sony's bad movies? For what, for I can keep funding some other stupid product that Xbox come up with? No. I refuse. I refuse. I've been pretty much done with gaming for quite some time now. I'm not even gonna lie to you and act like, oh boy, I've just been, no, I've been tired of this for quite some time. I'm tired of it every year. I don't have a decent game to play. It's enough that I'm unfortunate to not even be able to afford the games anymore. It's a whole different thing when I'm upset and mad about games that I can't play and the games are still bad. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. And the policies keep getting worse and worse. Why would 2K ever get better and the fan base always buys. Why would any of these companies do anything to improve their policy if you're going to keep buying it? But I'm supposed to sit here and be with PlayStation the problem? No, the problem is the same as it ever was: the fan base. Because the longest people keep supporting these bad practices, the longer it's going to keep going on. And I've had enough. I don't care. They can do whatever they want. I'm just going to buy what I want to buy. Because I am tired. I'm tired every 5 minutes someone just, is whether it's the doom and gloom or it's the worst things ever or so on and so on. Like, people act like they've never lived before. People are acting like they weren't having these same conversations in 1999, 1989, 1979. Like, people keep saying the world gets worse, but every generation have said the exact same thing. So how do you know the world doesn't just consistently just get bad? But that's a whole different subject. But overall, I don't feel anything towards it. I wish I could sit here and beat my chest and say this is some type of outcry. This is robbery. They're robbing opportunities. No, I don't feel anything. Because I've been seeing this coming from a mile away. What do people expect is going to happen? Truthfully, what do they expect was going to happen when they released them digital consoles? None of y'all thought that was strange? That they never said anything about being purely digital, but they're releasing digital-only consoles. Randomly. And then they released consoles with barely enough storage in the console to even have like 2 to 3 games. The base PS4 release, I got mine in 2015 with 500 gigabytes, knowing that most games cost 30 to 40 gigabytes. What, you get, 10 games on the console? I had to buy a storage drive just to stop deleting games. Who wants to play a game like that? Like, so there's a generation of children who don't understand what it's like. With the PS2, PS3, you bought the game for the most part, even if you have no internet, right? You bought the game, you put the game in, that's what you got. Sure, the PlayStation, PS3, Xbox 360 introduced updates, introduced DLCs, but you was able to pay online since PS2. Even with that, it was still like you put it in the game and the game worked. I didn't have to wait for a day one patch. Because usually if a game was bad, it was just bad. There was no day one patch. There was no, well, you gotta wait 6 months for them to fix the game. It was garbage and people wrote it off. That was it. They could release like a second edition that could be better. But overall, it was just released and done. Now it's gotten to the point where I just don't feel anything for it anymore. Because what can I feel? Disappointment? Sadness? Why? What am I supposed to feel about this? So I'm never really be a big doom and gloom guy. I just like to tell it how it is. The best way to fight back against this is to not buy the consoles and to not buy the game. They think they're gonna make profits from this. Let's see how they make profits broke in the soup line right next to me. And that's it. That's all that should be done. I've seen that there are petitions. People are mad. But the only way to show these people that you won't tolerate this behavior is not to buy it. So I don't care about what game you're going to miss out. Don't buy it. Please. Do not buy it. If the developers shut down, oh well. It's not the developers' fault. Blame the companies. Go independent. I don't know what they're going to do. But it's just, we can't keep supporting bad practices. Then be surprised that the bad practices get us nowhere. At what point do people say, I've had enough? At what point people say, you know what? I'll just stick to my old games and leave it at that. It's enough, like, that's the thing. The goal for PlayStation and Xbox to even do this, when the PS5 and the Xbox Series X are two of the worst console generations I've ever seen. I've never seen a more boring pair of consoles in my life. In my life. I don't understand how is this bad. You guys do realize they're going to try to release the PS6 and Xbox Series, whatever they're going to call it, next year, right? Why do you think they put in that whole 2028 deadline? It's right down the same time. Wow, whoa, guys. The same time the next gen console is going to release, the same time they're going to stop releasing next gen consoles. Well, not physical copies. Wow, that's a little weird, guys. Ain't that right, Stewie? That's awfully strange, guys. I can't be mad anymore. I can't be upset. Like I just don't feel anything. Um, I just don't. And the greatest way to fix it is let them starve. Because the one thing that's going to happen is whoever made that decision, when the people, the investors of this private company don't make their money, they're going to get fired. Two of the most boring, useless bricks in the PS6 and the PS5 and the Xbox One, and Sony and Xbox have the gall to try to take away physical consoles while knowing that the current consoles barely got any games and exclusive. Xbox is just getting something decent now in Gears of War. Just now. PlayStation 1. Spider-Man 2 was not what people expected. God of War Ragnarok was not what people expected. That's it. And every other game that came out, you can get on PC. One of the worst years for exclusives I've ever seen. So, to put this home one last time before I wrap this up, the reason why I hate the Switch is because the Switch killed any opportunity for portable gaming. Fusing the two consoles together was a horrific idea because, ironically enough, there were some good studios that only made games for the PSP, that only made games for the DS, the 3DS. Now those small games have nowhere to go. Do you think people want to buy a 3DS size game on a full-fledged console? Huh? Who want to do that? Who want to do that? There's a huge market for portable. Like, we've seen how much sales the Steam machine has had. People want to take something on the go. They want to play something on the go. They don't have to be the biggest game in the world. But nope, because everything got to. I really don't have much else to say, really. Is this the end of gaming? No. Is it the end of the world? No. All I can say is that people, especially gamers, are going to have to make a choice for the future of gaming. And that is to stop supporting bad business practices. That's it. I don't care if you start up your own company, because the monopoly and not having any real competition, it's just, well, it's Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo. They're all on the same script. Remember when playing online the Wii used to be free? Not with the Switch it ain't. But everybody's playing online for a service where games can still have cheaters on it and everything else. And hackers. And they can hack the people and shut down stuff. So why am I paying this extra money? It is what it is. And I'd rather just deal with that and live in my own squalor to break my back and earn money for a console that's not going to mean anything. Ironically, you can argue that this is bigger than just a few bad games. It is technically bigger on a bigger scale, but I'm already running out of storage space. I'm not trying to make this too long. All I say is this: this is a microcosm of a bigger issue with consumerism and people wanting to shut their brains off and not think about the choices in their life. And when you run your life on autopilot, you don't have the right to complain about how autopilot is driving your life. Because remember, you gave up that free will. You had a choice. And the biggest secret to idiocracy is, it's not the fact that, well, everybody gonna be stupid. The biggest secret is that everybody chose to be stupid. You remember what they said? The smart people stopped reproducing, and the dumb people kept reproducing. Key word, a choice. MSWK. Peace.